Hey guys, I'm sorry this video's out late. My fault. But I'm actually going to talk about some of the most common misconceptions rabbit owners do. I actually am outside right now with one of my rabbits. We are just hanging out inside of this enclosed cage or outside. So the first thing is pellets. Pellets have been a controversial thing for years now. It depends what kind of rabbit you have, depending on whether you should feed pellets or not. So if you have meat rabbits, aka food rabbits, then yes, you would probably want to feed them pellets because it gets them more fat. But if you have a show rabbit or a pet rabbit, I wouldn't necessarily recommend feeding pellets. Now this is just because if they live in a cage, the pellet is such a fatty food that if they sit there in that cage, they will gain and they will be overweight. So you definitely have to watch when feeding pellets and stuff. The next thing is hay. Hay is probably the most important thing the rabbit will ever need in its lifetime, just because it's not only good for them personally, it also grinds down their teeth, which is a big thing that they need, because a lot of rabbits, if you see them in shelters and stuff, they have really bad teeth, and that's from overgrowth. So you can have the overbite or the underbite, and that's just from them not being able to chew on stuff. So like they would also just not only hay, they would also need like wood bricks and stuff. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is water bottles. Now this concludes for any animal, whether you have a guinea pig, a rabbit, or whatever. Water bottles aren't necessarily good. Now you would think that they are good because they hold more water, but it's actually wrong. The way a water bottle is shaped, I'll show you. Hold on. So this right here is, sorry, it has water in it. This right here is a normal water bottle. Now you would either use smaller ones or bigger ones depending on what animal you have. This is just like a rabbit water bottle. And there you go. So these are very bad for a few reasons. As you see on the top right here, that's all mold and stuff. So with this water, it can get really disgusting. So there's also a lot of algae in here. So these I do not recommend using, just because they can cause so much bad stuff. Like it can cause a lot of bacterial to get into the rabbit, which can cause digestive problems or really any type of problems, and they can easily get infections. These are just overall not a good thing to use. Now, I get it, if you still use it, that's your problem. Just make sure you're cleaning out these regularly, and make sure you watch what water you put in here, because if you put non-filtered water, it comes more buildup, and then if you put filtered water, it's less to get more stuff caught up in here. So really just don't use water bottles. Next thing we're going to be talking about is the age. Not my rabbits, but I mean people. So when you think of a rabbit, you think of it as a cute, cuddly thing. Well, it's actually the opposite of everything. I do not want you to get a rabbit unless you don't have the time, the money, and you don't know the responsibilities of them. So I have 7 rabbits right now. Yeah. And they are a lot of money and a lot of time. So they do take a lot of stuff. And I don't recommend getting it for a 5-year-old or below. I would recommend them getting around 12 or 13 when you're around 12 or 13, because you get more responsibilities. I mean, if you do have a younger age, good. Just make sure they are being taken care of well, and make sure they do have free time to not be inside of cages, and they get to free roam outside. The next thing is cages. So all of my rabbits live outside because my rabbits are not pet rabbits. That became a lot of surprise to a lot of my friends. My rabbits are show rabbits, so essentially I take them to fairs and other things like that, and I show them. That's why they are not inside. If they were inside, they would be spoiled and everything. But my rabbits, yes, they do live outside in cages, but they have everything they need, and I keep very close call of what they come in contact with, because there's a new virus going around with rabbits right now, and it kind of scares me because it hit Ohio not too long ago, and it's an outside virus carried by wild rabbits. So having rabbits outside is a big thing too. My rabbits are kept in 2 cages. They have this cage. They have their cages that they're in permanently. Well, then they have this cage, which holds all the cages inside, and then every day they come out into this enclosed cage, where they get to run around and have grass. Right now I have Lop out. She is my fair bunny this year. I'm not showing any other ones, I'm just showing her this year. So yeah. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about leashes. This is a loop leash right here, essentially meaning that you don't need a harness or a collar. So me personally, when I take my rabbits outside of the enclosed cage to take pictures or just take them for a walk, I usually have them on a harness and then I have them on a leash. Now, I do not recommend putting a rabbit in a harness or a leash if they've never been on one because it can be really stressful. Only about 2 of my rabbits actually know how to use a harness. And the second thing is, if you have a leash, make sure it's the right proper type of leash. You don't want a regular leash like this. This is just for a vet leash, or if I have to get a rabbit that I know is aggressive. I have one rabbit that's really aggressive and I can't really like pick it up a lot, so I use this leash. But make sure it's like a bungee cord leash, so if they pull against you, it's not giving resistance on their back or their neck, and it's not giving them stress. So use oh my gosh, I can't talk. Use resistant leashes. I actually don't have mine with me. It's actually all at my mom's house, and I'm at my dad's right now. So I would show you mine, but I don't have it with me. So that's all for this week's video. It's kind of short, and I don't really know what else to talk about. Next week, I'm going to be talking about different types of rabbits. I'm only going to be staying in the topic of the rabbits I have. So there is 1,000 million different breeds. I'm just going to be talking about the ones I have and essentially how they're different to other breeds. So yeah, see you in like 2 weeks.